Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help you and your family stay protected, offering a wide range of vaccines, including flu shots and COVID-19 boosters. Stop into the store or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy. Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
You'll notice it's hot, but otherwise pretty good weather this weekend for a hike. We have some great suggestions for where to hike along the Front Range. 32 trails, mostly within a 2-hour drive from the Denver metro area. Check it out at the link in the show notes, and do let us know if any of your favorite day hikes are missing. I'm Bazi Kanani. Coming up, $140 million in public money and big road projects. Is this really about a new stadium for the Broncos?
Telling you that there's no weight there or that there's no consideration there would be insulting to everybody at this table.
Then, Coloradans with disabilities on the landmark rights law signed 35 years ago this weekend.
Let's also keep in mind that this fight has really only just begun and we've taken about 12 steps backwards.
Plus, he got a new job saving lives.
The intensity and the vulnerability of running these 911 calls.
Now, you can hear him sing about it.
They cannibalize their fears, crawl back in your hole.
It's Friday, July 25th. Here's the news in Colorado today. There are rumors swirling about the Denver Broncos getting a new stadium. The suburbs want to lure them out of Denver. Meanwhile, companies associated with the Broncos are reportedly buying up property just down the street from their current stadium. And Denver taxpayers could be asked to approve millions to help keep them in the city. Denverite's Kyle Harris is here to fill us in. Kyle, first of all, I'm sure there are different opinions on this, but do the Broncos really need a new stadium?
Well, confession, I have never been to a football game at Broncos Stadium, but I have been to a number of concerts there, and it seemed pretty great to me. The Broncos Stadium is squarely middle-aged compared to other stadiums across the country. The way I see it is the stadium's kind of like my T-shirt. Some people would urgently replace it. For folks like me, this shirt works just fine. For the Broncos' billionaire owners, they're going to lose their lease on Mile High in 2027. And as you've alluded to, local officials have told me that the team has been exploring a move to the suburbs.
I think that shirt has a few more weeks in it, at least.
Oh, it's got years.
It would be a big change if the Broncos left downtown Denver.
It would be massive. Both Aurora and Centennial are allegedly competing for the Broncos' love. Now, to be real, Mayor Mike Kaufman about a year ago told me that he thinks that the Broncos are entertaining those cities basically to get the best deal out of Denver possible.
A negotiating tactic.
Exactly. If Denver were to lose the Broncos, this would be a major money suck to the city. Denver would lose sales taxes, would lose hospitality taxes, and all that revenue is important to keeping just nuts and bolts city operations funded.
We will get a long-term deal done to keep the Denver Broncos in Denver.
So Denver, of course, doesn't want to lose this massive cultural symbol, this economic engine of the city. And the city's currently facing this $250 million budget deficit. In part, that's because of a drop in sales taxes.
So the city really wants to keep the Broncos. Can you tell us more about the area that could become the Broncos' new home?
Yeah, so the area is called Burnham Yard.
And it's right nearby.
Yeah, it's near the old stadium. It's an old rail yard between 6th and 13th Avenues in Denver, kind of near Broadway and I-25, if that helps. It's currently listed as an EPA brownfield site, which means some combination of the city, CDOT, and the former railroad company will have to clean up the land before it can be used for something else. Now, Business Den had a great story, and they reported that companies with ties to the Broncos have been buying up property in the area, signaling that this plan between the team and the city has been something that's been happening for some time. And part of the plan appears to be to ask taxpayers in Denver to approve debt to work on infrastructure around the site.
How much debt would that be?
A lot. So it's part of this nearly $1 billion bond package. We've covered it previously. It'll likely go to voters in the fall. Basically, the city is going to go into debt to fund development instead of having to raise taxes. So this is funded through existing property taxes. $140 million from the bond package would be used to update these two thoroughfares that cross the Burnham Yard site. You've probably driven on them yourself. It's the 6th Avenue Bridge going west from Denver into Lakewood, and then the 8th Avenue Bridge, which is around the same spot.
Now, the mayor needs the city council's support in order to bring this proposal to voters. We've reported on this show that there's been some initial pushback to that. How's it going right now?
Well, it's continuing to be a pretty feisty conversation. Chris Hines was the only city council member who voted in committee against sending the bond to a full city council vote. But multiple council members have reservations about all sorts of things in the bond, especially when projects in their own districts didn't make the cut for the money. Here's the city's bond manager, Patrick Riley, and councilmember Sarah Parody discussing the issue of the Broncos.
It is impossible to ignore the Broncos as a thing in Denver. So telling you that there's no weight there or that there's no consideration there would be insulting to everybody at this table.
So then why hasn't it been mentioned up until now? That's my question.
So she was questioning the process for prioritizing the Burnham Yard project over other infrastructure projects that she thinks are really critical.
The mayor's office level choices have been a black box to me in a lot of ways because I think a lot of the explanations we've gotten sort of justify a particular project, but you can justify any of these projects.
The full city council will likely decide on August 4th whether the full bond package will wind up on the ballot in the fall.
Denverite's Kyle Harris, thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow marks 35 years of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Coloradans helped lead the fight, a challenging one, to advocate for this monumental civil rights legislation, which bans discrimination against people with disabilities at work, in schools, on buses, trains, and planes, and other areas of public life. 35 years on, you're about to hear from 4 Coloradans with visual impairments talk about what the law has meant to them and why their fight for disability rights continues today.
I'm Cindy Vaughn, and I live in Centennial. I am an individual who has low vision and hard of hearing, have been all my life, often referred to as being deaf-blind. I do a lot of work with helping serve as a liaison between the deafblind community and the government and other community partners. All the time I went to college, there was no ADA, which meant that, I had to arrange and bargain for every single accommodation that I had. And I was seriously on my own. It was pretty tough. It didn't mean that people weren't well-meaning, but there was no law even governing it. We have had the ADA in place for 35 years. The fact is that one of the weakest points has been enforcement.
I'm too young to have known it before. So I'm not that young, but I didn't start losing my vision until I was 25. I'm Chris Kaufman. I'm also low vision. I have Stargardt disease. I work as a marketing project manager, and I am also an advocate for accessibility and inclusion. The ADA brought people with disabilities into the conversation. In theory, it is a really great piece of legislation. And I love that it has probably helped many people. But at the same time, if you don't know what you don't know as an employee, if you don't know how to ask for accommodations, if you don't have the confidence to ask for accommodations, you won't, regardless of what the law says.
The ADA, on its 35th anniversary, we actually have to remember that it is a floor, not ceiling. That just means that we have a foundation and we need to keep building on it. My name is Elise Draper. I am from Arvada. I'm actually a professional writer and publisher. I am low vision, which means personally I have less than 10% of the center field of vision of one of my eyes. The ADA is there to help protect us, so we have the opportunity to use it and to ensure that we are still getting the tools, but it can be defunded, and a lot of the amenities that are actually going alongside the ADA, those vocational resources, the Social Security disability, the Medicaid, a lot of these services have lost money. So right now, yay, we're celebrating 35 years. Let's also keep in mind that this fight has really only just begun, and we've taken about 12 steps backwards.
And we have taken back maybe more than 12 steps. My name is Sarai Alvarado. I am low vision and hard of hearing. I like to get involved in knowing more about what is out there with ADA, things that we can work with, what needs to be done, have our voices heard. I'm very, very worried about Medicaid because, what are we going to do? I'm part of that person that will be affected by it. So I do agree that, it is the beginning of a fight.
We have so much happening at our local level. For example, with RTD and, potential cuts to on-demand, which has been the first truly reliable form of transportation for individuals who have disabilities to get from their home to a job. These little things, even locally, are big things. And the folks in Colorado who really made some inroads to helping the original ADA come into being was the Atlantis community when they did protest with RTD for inaccessible buses. And they literally went to Broadway and Colfax and they stopped the buses running to say, taxation without transportation wasn't okay. They had the right to access. They fought for it. They united. They worked together. And this is what we need to do now.
That was Cindy Vaughn, Sarai Alvarado, Elise Draper, and Chris Kaufman sharing their reflections on the 35th anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is tomorrow. It's Friday, and you deserve to hear some music. Anthony Ruptak had been hustling in the Denver music scene for a decade, working at a warehouse by day to pay the bills. Then, in 2020, he got a break. He was set to go on tour as the opener for a bigger act. And then
COVID hit, effectively shutting down, the live arts.
Ruptak decided to make a change. He'd never had a job with what he calls real responsibilities. But in the middle of the pandemic, he thought,
who's not curious when they drive by an ambulance with their lights on? Who's not wondering, oh, what's going on? I hope everybody's okay.
His new album, Tourist, features songs about his new career as a paramedic.
They're a mix of my experiences on the ambulance with these groups of people, as well as the beautiful wilderness that we have here in Colorado, and trying to just escape for moments, just to allow yourself to fill back up and feel human again.
Here's the song Trauma Naked.
I think it's a really punchy, powerful recording that got the emotions that I was feeling when I wrote it across, as far as the intensity and the vulnerability of running these 911 calls when I'm pretty new.
You walk in a place like in a sleep paralysis, seeking shelter from the void.
I wrote this one during my 6-month training process downtown on the ambulance because I felt it was important to document these experiences where I was witnessing the immense suffering in these handful of patients' lives. Each verse and the bridges focus on specific individuals that I encountered, and so a lot of the experiences were very fresh and very new to me.
In your face in the window of the 7-Eleven, waiting on a caller.
This first character was a woman who appeared to be struggling with homelessness, had a bunch of stuff with her, and she was doing her makeup in the cold in the reflection of the 7-Eleven window. chorus is the through line for all of these different characters. Their collective struggle to find support and resources, and at the end of the day, somebody to like care about them and listen to them and treat them like a human being, not just like avert your eyes.
They cannibalize their fears. Crawl back in your hole.
The human nature to survive and press on in the face of odds that can't be beaten. People who are living in extreme poverty, people who are living with crippling mental health, they all have this primordial sense of survival and self-preservation, which is pretty unshakable. These are human beings who feel and think and love and struggle as much as the listener is.
Anthony Ruptak is playing all 3 days at the Underground Music Showcase in Denver this weekend, and organizers say this will be the last UMS, at least as we've come to know it. You can find the festival's schedule at the link in our show notes. Reporting for today's show also came from CPR's Stephanie Wolf and Mateo Schimpf. Be sure to follow Colorado Today in your podcast app, and if you hear something you like, share it. I'm Bazi Kanani. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Shop the weekly ad, clip deals, and earn points at Safeway.com or in the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.